Hello, everyone, and welcome to another whiskayE podcast. This one is number 29, almost up to the big 30. And I suppose we should probably open with a bit of an apology. We have been kind of hinting that there'd be a big change to this next podcast. We haven't yet been able to enact it. We're right on the cusp. We hope to have it for the next one, which we've been saying for the last couple. But unfortunately, this one, well, fortunately, because obviously we make amazing content, but it won't be changed from our usual fare. We're looking at a Dram Team box, and you will just have to put up with how we normally approach it for now and be on the edge of your seats for the next episode. Also, as a second apology, there's been a bit of a gap. Life has got in the way a little bit in the last few weeks, but we're back on it hopefully now, and we should resume a fairly regular schedule, I would say.
Should be.
So, without further rambling, because we'll have plenty of that later, I will introduce us to this box. So this is the Dram Team box called Scotch Spectacular, and the card reads, Scotch whisky, entrancing, romantic, steeped with history, full of complexities. Exploring regional styles and different production techniques can really help drinkers get to grips with Scotch. So, in this box, we explore a range of styles from single malt to single grain, from Islay to the Highlands, and discover some hidden gems from a country with over 4 times as many whiskey casks as people. Spectacular Scotland. Slange. Which
I think we could take the whiskey cast in a fight, but
I don't know, because if you burst one with your punch,
yeah,
and you get whiskey all over you, if you get it in your eyes,
yeah, that's fair. I was going to say there is a slight change to this, but it's not the big change. So we're obviously this week. We thought we would sort of combine whiskey talk and Josh's journeys because basically I don't know really how to. I could just give you a big history on Scotch whisky, but I feel like we talk so much about mostly Scotch that it would kind of be a waste of time, and very generic and not really a whisky lesson. Like, oh, whisky is a thing that's in Scotland. It came from Ireland. It has to be done in oak.
Heresy.
Yeah. But
if you want the basics to Scotch, just get like a Tesco's Finest.
Yeah.
Scotch. Read the front of it, and that'll tell you the legal.
It might have been basics.
Yeah, that'll tell you the legal requirements for Scotch. Age in oak, 3 years old, made in Scotland.
Yeah. So, but we're just going to have a bit of a free-form chat about whiskey and being
rather than our usual rigid rules-driven.
Our content. Segments are a bit more rigid, but yeah, it's time around. It's sort of like a little throwback to pre-segments, but with a bit more of a framework.
Yeah, fair. So should we get into his first whiskey?
Yeah. I'm happy to go.
I'm ready when you are.
So first up, we have a whiskey called Malt Riot, Glasgow VAT number 6. So Malt Riot recalls the Scottish people's response to the 1725 British government's new taxation on malted barley. Starting in Glasgow, the Malt Riots eventually spread across Scotland. This hand-picked blend from the modern Glasgow distillery, which is a pretty new distillery, I'm pretty sure, is a riotous celebration of Scotland's malted spirit with their 1770 single malt at its heart.
So I'm just having a sniff.
I might be wrong about Glasgow, but I'm pretty sure all the Glasgow distilleries shut and then.
I think you're right. I think it'd be interesting how many whiskies you could have based on riots caused by the British government.
I mean, you could name quite a few based on stuff.
It's like isn't it something like 100 and something days? Oh, there's only so many days in the year that aren't an Independence Day or something.
Yeah. And also with Scotland, there's plenty of historical issues.
Oh yeah, it's not like we only ever cause one riot per country.
Highland clearances, multiple battles, a little bit of jiggery pokery with some royals.
Yeah, we've done it. England's done a bit of damage over the years.
Also, I would say that there's like reasonable back and forth on that.
But yeah, I think anything that like is held against the British Empire, Scotland is 100% complicit in. at that point.
Anything after about 1300.
Yeah, we dragged you along for the ride at that point. So what should I be smelling then?
On the nose, you should be getting notes of freshly planed oak, which lead to sweet vanilla slices and hints of floral hyacinth. Well, I don't know what hyacinth smells like.
I think of with hyacinth is hyacinth bouquet.
Hyacinth bucket.
Yeah, exactly. Pronounced bouquet.
But,
It is quite woody on the nose, yeah. I get what he means by planed wood as well, because it's like planks rather than logs.
Yeah, like fresh.
Yeah, like you've just shaved it. I don't know if you call it shaving, and when you do it with wood, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like
a fresh cut, like say.
When you plane wood, that is shaving it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to say shaved wood rather than planed wood, just to be different.
It's like wood that's been dried out a bit, and then you've decided to make a nice flat tabletop.
Exactly. Yeah. Smells like tabletops. Right, I'm going in. What should I be tasting?
On a palate, should be toffee apples balanced alongside dry spices and caramelized pineapple, with a finish that is light and smooth with ripples of milk chocolate, dry fruits, and sweet nuttiness.
So I can kind of get everything he's saying there. There is a bit of caramelly toffee to begin with. I'm not sure I get the apple, but fine. There is a little bit of dry spiciness. It's definitely like a nutmeg, like 1 on the Josh scale of spice, which still needs to be renamed. And then there is a little bit of like tropical fruitiness before the finish.
I suppose the issue is that like your apple and your pineapple are not going to be that far from each other in flavour. There is a difference, obviously. I'm not.
Yeah, I always get like, instead of the actual fruit, I get like the syrup from the tin. So like if you got tinned pineapple or whatever, and you got the syrup, I always get that. And then I get the kind of chocolatiness in the finish as well, more milk chocolate rather than dark chocolate, but which is what he says. But
I do sort of get something bright like an apple at the start in amongst the toffee.
We'll go toffee on orchard fruits because we're fancy to begin.
Yeah. Caramel orchard fruits.
I'm going to call it a JSS.
What's that?
Josh Spice Scale.
Okay.
Of 1.
Yeah. It's quite clear, this.
And then, it's very light, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then tropical fruits. Milk chocolate on the light finish. It's got 2 surprising things for me, this one. I thought from the smell it'd be more potent, not heavier, but more kind of astringent, more alcoholic. And because the smell's quite confronting.
Yeah.
And it's very oily
for
how light it is. Like the legs on it are ridiculous.
It is quite nutty actually in the finish. It's also interesting because a lot of this is like toffee and the spice and the chocolatiness and the dried fruits usually comes from sherried whiskey,
but they're like a lighter version of all of those, aren't they? Because it's like a milk, almost like a white chocolate.
Yeah.
Very sweet kind of chocolate. But yeah, I know what you mean. They are kind of like sherry notes modified.
But it's not really a sherried.
No, it's not got the weight of a sherry whiskey. This one is too light. It's very nice though.
Yeah, you are right about these legs. They're slow.
It's definitely oily, which is such a light whiskey because it's got no finish. It just kind of delivers. It lingers, but there's no heat. There's no.
And it just puts a full stop with here is the new flavour.
Here's some milk chocolate and some nuts. See you later. Which is, if that's what a whiskey is going to deliver before it leaves, fine. I have finished mine because I really enjoyed that one.
There's like no burn on it as well.
No, it's very light, very light.
It's 40%, so it has been,
It's been chill filtered up. No, it's diluted, isn't it?
Well, it's just been made to be steady.
Yeah.
Some people say it's a crime, but I don't know enough.
Some people say lots of things.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to give that one a score?
Now we sort of reviewed our scoring system, right?
Yeah, so we said like 3 was like an entry level.
Did we not make it more like 2.5 was entry level? So that we had more room for good whiskey.
Yeah, okay. I'll go. We might not have, but I'll go with that.
Yeah, but it's not that I'm putting this at an entry level.
No, but it's good to have an agreed baseline.
Yeah, so I would probably give this a 3.5 on a scale like that.
Yes, I am 100% in agreement.
And this is why I asked, because if we were starting at 3, I'd also struggle to give it a 4.
I think that's a really good point, because it's really nice, but it's not excellent, and 4 feels like you're getting into the excellent.
So either way, it's a 3.5, but I think the 3.5 is more accurate if we're saying like a baseline middle of the road. This is a good whiskey that you would like, but
maybe we ought to do some baseline whiskies, like ones we think from what we drank is a 2.5 sherry whiskey, a 2.5 light whiskey, that kind of stuff.
We probably should.
And then that could be our comparator, which we'd have to revisit from time to time.
Well, we do like a revisit.
Yeah. It's just a shame that we'd have to then buy some whiskies that were like, these are good but not great.
Yeah, it is what it is. So we might end up drinking them and being like, oh, we were wrong. This is great.
Yeah. Well, we'll tell as third person that we'd sometimes drink whiskies with that these were his favourites.
Yeah. And then have them drink with us. And I'm like, have you got a broken taste? But have you guys got COVID?
Just don't tell them that when we're drinking them with them and they're like, they're all right, these. You show you your favourites and just be like, yeah, I love them.
Yeah, like uncultured, that's why.
Yeah, he's slagging off my taste. Right, I'll just give my glass a quick little rinse of water because I'm professional like that. I should probably have 6 glasses. But...
Well, I was sort of thinking about if we were to add in the extra element that I maybe I need to invest in some more Glencairns, but...
Well, I had an idea on those, but we'll talk about that after.
Yes. That's secrets from all you podcast listeners that you will find out about in due
Join our Patreon to find out more. We don't actually have one, but if someone messages saying they'll pay for it, we'll put one.
We would have had an OnlyFans, but they've said that they're going to allow adult content again, so it can't be associated.
Yeah, we're puritanical drinkers. We only believe in one sin. I'll go on to whiskey number 2, shall I?
Yeah.
So this one, I'm going to struggle. Not with the first word, the second one. So I'll try. Provenance, Tierninik.
Yeah, that's pretty close, yeah.
Aged 8 years. Tierninik is probably one of the best Highland distilleries you've never heard of. As one of Diageo's so-called workhorse distilleries, most of their whiskies get snapped up into blends, but don't let that fool you. Their malts are known for an ultra-clean, fragrant character and delightful texture to rival the nearby Dalmore. They're also one of the only distilleries to use a high-tech mash filter, making them unique. And I think, and let me just rapidly type in the background, they have another claim to fame, which is they don't have a mash tun.
Is that how this filter helps then?
I guess so, yeah. I haven't looked into it, but it's old. It was founded in 1817, and by 1830 it was producing 30 times more than it did when it was founded. Not bad in 13 years.
No, I mean, maybe if our podcast manages to produce 13 times the listeners in 30 years, then I'll be a very sozzled, quite a lot older man.
We'll be able to smile while we're on his dialysis machines. Yeah. Right. I'm just popping mine open. So you should be smelling. Oh, immediately the nose unlocks. Pear drops with apple peel and sweet honeyed oat biscuits.
Well, I was going to say pear. So.
Oh, there's a shock.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you've got it between like pear drops and apple peel. You've got to be getting pear of that.
I was going to say it smells like pear peel and apple bonbons. So it's close enough.
Apple drops and pear peel, yeah. There's a little bit for me. Just I had a quick sniff. I'm just going to do another one. Not chemicaliness. There's a little bit of syntheticness to that. And maybe that's what they mean when they say like pear drops rather than pear.
I could get what you mean, yeah. Like
I'm not getting sweet honeyed oat biscuits, but I don't feel like oat biscuits smell like much. But
I guess it's the smell of the flavour, right? So
yeah. So here you go on your palate. you should get green fruits moving to an assortment of fruit gums with a backdrop of fresh new oak. And the finish is medium long with runny caramel, sweet malt, and a buttery home baking quality. So some more sherry kind of notes there.
It's quite sweet, but I don't know about fruit gums.
I get the home baking comment. It's that kind of sweetness.
But like more in a...
I like a pastry kind of way. It's like a sweet pastry.
Yeah, like an apple, like a apple turnover or something.
Yeah. You know, like when it's like the pastry is kind of soaked in the fruit or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like
but not the actual fruit itself. Like the fruit soaked pastry.
Yeah, the lattice.
Yeah.
Like the base of a lattice or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we're onto the same. So what were we saying on those? You were saying I'm gonna apple drops. And pear peel.
Pear peel, yeah.
Yeah. Baked. So we'll go for. I liked that. So apple turnover, pastry, sweetness. There is a little bit of spiciness to this one, I thought.
A little bit. That's sort of why I went to the apple turnover, because usually you'd have sort of cinnamon in that.
True.
And
it's definitely
there's a butteriness, I think. That is why it feels more like pastry than home baking to me.
Yeah.
Might
Buttery
just be
quality. I think it's because it's oily again. It's quite a heavy one, but
it's very clear again. Like this is
another like
almost be convinced you were drinking like vodka by looking at this.
Yeah, this is another really like super easy drinker, no burn, no alcohol, and this is 46.
Yeah. Maybe we're just our gullets have recovered. They're no longer raw.
Yeah. This is the hell you put us through, listeners.
Yeah.
To make content for you. Keep me going through COVID times. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of anything more. A medium finish is fair, I think.
Yeah.
It's definitely got more of a finish than the last one.
Yeah, but it's not. I'd say it's like a rounder flavour, given our sharp flavours and round flavours chat from many podcasts ago. Then, but that tends to mean that it lasts a bit better.
I don't know if I call the last one a sharper flavour. I call it a thinner flavour.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think, I know what you mean, though. But I'm just adding an extra dimension to this.
Trying to synesthesia our way into flavours here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But this is 100% a round flavour.
Yeah.
This one.
Like it has, it's almost like a wide mouthfeel, but not really. Like.
I know what you mean.
It's just.
It's almost like a triangular mouthfeel. Like I can feel it on my top cheeks, but I can't feel it anywhere down the bottom. So it's like tongue and like
palate.
Yeah, top palate, but nothing down the bottom. But it goes up and out, so it doesn't go out to the cheeks, if you know what I mean. I realise I said top cheeks. That makes it sound like I've got like 4 cheeks.
Well, you're being crude.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I always do half by drinking, half by infusion.
Yeah.
That's when you really feel the spice.
Especially if you're actually eating spicy food.
Yeah. That was another really nice one.
Yeah, from just based on looks, I would say I was pleasantly surprised by them, but obviously that's just because like a very clear whiskey.
I'd like to see more from this Tianinic, however you say it. It seems a shame that there's like all gets snapped up.
Tianinic, but
Tianinic. Yeah. It's a shame they all get snapped up for blends because that's good stuff.
A lot of them, I think, though, a lot of the places that are regular contributors to blends will be very consistent and very good.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what they look for.
Yeah, fair. Do you want to give this one a score?
I'd also probably put that on a 3.5.
I think that's very fair.
For different qualities, but
yes, it's like, as we were just saying, we could do a baseline.
Yeah.
Those could baseline two different whiskies.
Yeah.
They're a bit higher than a baseline, but I mean, they're both equal but completely different.
Yeah. Which is another thing which is difficult with the scoring system, of course, because it's like, well, I really like this one because it was super sherry bomb and it was like it actually burned on the way down, and but it was like so much flavor and it bloomed into my mouth and the spice was there, but it was sort of, and then you're like, but then I really like this one because it was super smooth.
Yeah, no burn. It was lovely. Yeah.
People are like, wait, what?
Yeah, pick one. Yeah, well, we're gonna have to make a scoring system more complicated, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have a chart that we could use, but
we do, but we don't.
No, that would require editing.
Yeah, it's damn editor. Hate him.
I'm not criticizing him.
No, I can tell. Would you like to introduce us to his third whiskey? I'm keeping it pacey. It's good.
Yeah, punchy. Because we're probably going to ramble quite a bit in a minute.
We're not actually going that fast.
Yeah. So up next we have the Glengoyne, aged 10 years. So Highland single malts are often known for their sweet, fragrant, and delicate characters. Glengoyne is a perfect example of this. They claim to be the slowest distillery in Scotland. For each minute other whiskey spend in their stills, Glengoyne spends 3. Their sweet, fruity, and gentle whiskey is then aged in carefully selected casks made from American and Spanish wood. Often these are filled with sherry for a few years before, creating a wonderful refined drop. See multiple chats about sherry oak on previous WhiskAYE podcasts.
Yes.
But it's interesting to boast. There's not many places where you could be like, we are so slow at doing our job. 3 times slower than the average.
We're definitely
and
the
people
least
be like,
efficient.
Yeah, and people be like, sounds like a good quality to have.
I want to get something from this guy.
Sounds like I was reading an article recently that was like, there's since the pandemic hit and everyone's working from home, there's loads of people, especially in America, that are just doing 2 jobs.
Yeah.
They've just got 2 laptops open and they're like, I can just do both of these jobs and get paid 2 salaries.
The average person in an office out of an 8-hour day works about 3 hours.
Yeah. So if you're at home and you don't have any distractions, you can easily do 6 hours of work and then, fit your meetings in and around.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because it's like, up until the Industrial Revolution, when people were working 16-hour days, like the longest work days, like even peasants in medieval times was like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they might go longer in summer when they had to do all the harvest and everything, but in winter they didn't work.
Yeah.
So it balanced out, and it's only recent that it's been like 16, 20-hour days or whatever, because mill owners could make it whatever they want and kill the workers and do whatever. And now we're here, and they're like, oh, you think you've got it hard because you're working 8-9 hours a day. And it's like, actually, this is some of the worst working conditions mankind's ever had.
Yeah. Oh, well, Scotland are trialling somewhere. Don't know where.
I read about
trust me, the 4-day work week.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were involved.
I assume it will be the Scottish government. Well, yeah, everyone was like, literally everyone does exactly the same productivity as they did on a 5-day work week, and it's like, it's just, you just are more focused.
Everyone's just happier because they've got a 3-day weekend. Yeah.
So basically, like, it's almost like if you have a reasonably skilled workforce, then they will do their work as much as it's required.
Yeah.
And they just fill the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But
so, what should I be smelling in my Glengoyne?
So, on the nose, you should be getting sweet. Well, it says the nose should be sweet with toffee and popcorn aromas, slightly nutty with fresh green apples coming through. Getting a lot of apples today. Good. 3 of my 5 a day so far. It
makes sense with this one because if you say it takes 3 times longer in the stills give you fruity flavours, don't they?
Yeah.
Copper contact. I get popcorn.
Oh. Yeah. Sniff myself.
Maybe a bit of apple. There's definitely like that deeper sweetness, that like popcorny sweetness, like almost a salted carameliness.
It is a toffee popcorn, though, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Not like a salted one.
And there is some sort of like toffee apple.
Yeah, there's a sweetness behind that, isn't there? Toffee and apple on the nose. Right, I'm going in.
Okay, so the palate should be clean. Green apples and grass, soft oak, and a hint of sweet licorice. Water brings linseed oil and almonds if you want to try it. Sounds not really to my taste, but
Yeah, oil and almonds.
yeah. The finish should be sweet and malty.
So
I personally am not a fan of oil.
What oil that you use for like treating wood?
Yeah, as a flavour.
Yeah,
it's almost
Cranky
Mr.
flashbacks.
Sheen-esque.
Yeah. I get what I mean by clean. If you hold that in your mouth, there's nothing. There's no burn. It's just fine. There is that appliness to it again. I don't know what sweet licorice tastes like, so I can't say that. There is a kind of a sweet maltiness, like a Horlicks almost, that kind of thing.
I can agree to the sweet licorice flavour because it's sort of like a tangy but sweet flavour, which it has, and definitely I get the clean. It's like I feel like appley, grassy flavors are clean flavors, you know.
Fresh flavors, yeah.
Yeah. So
that fresh flavors, yeah.
I
do get that kind of sweet malt at the end.
It's quite quick though.
Yeah. This is. Well, I think that goes in hand in hand with the clean, and it's like no residue at the end.
I'm just savouring that. So it's quite pleasant, to be fair.
So sometimes, like different alcohols work in different weather conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if it's hot, normally you wouldn't go for a whiskey.
No, you prefer like
a beer, like a light beer or a cider. Yeah, you wouldn't go for like a stout or whatever,
Or like a vodka soda or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like a G&T, I can see that. This one I could actually see being like a hot weather.
No, I could agree. Yeah.
It's almost refreshing. It's not because it's whiskey, and whiskey is never refreshing, but it's one of the closest I think we've had to refreshing.
Doing the water for the final bit, and let's see what we get.
Go on then. Let's go for oil. I like almonds.
The nose is closer to an oil, like a more like a.
Yeah, there is like a
petroleum-y hydrocarbon.
Like a furniture polish kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a very nice nose.
It's still got most of their qualities, but it has gone more oily. I'll drink this.
That is significantly worse with water. Oh.
It's not wrong.
No, that is wood polish.
Yeah. See, this is one that's at 40%, and I feel like they did it justice by bringing it down. Oh no, I suppose it's been brought down with water, but if it went any further...
Yeah. Whoever decided that whiskey has to be 40%, thank you.
If it was 37.5, like most vodkas, that would have ruined it.
Much worse with water. Would you not agree?
Yeah, it's almost bitter.
Oh, that was actually unpleasant with water.
I'm going to score it without the water.
Yeah, no.
I haven't put water in any others, so.
Yeah, it's not fair to judge it on that.
And I wouldn't have put water in that at 40%.
I think Chris is just trolling us.
Yeah.
Would you like to give that one a score then?
Without the water, it's kind of boring, but I'm probably saying 3.5 again.
I mean, I can't disagree.
Yeah.
This is a problem. These have all been...
I feel like this has been selected as a selection of good,
this is above good because 2.5 is
yeah,
good.
no, but I meant like
better than average, but
above
not
average
amazing.
whiskies.
But I'm hopeful.
To be
for
honest,
the
if
next
you're
one.
bouncing around Scotland, you probably want to be in that range because otherwise people will be like, I only like this
I think
region.
expecting like a box that we pay a certain amount for, which is not a staggering amount every month, to deliver
very, very
4, 5, 4.5 would be.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be worrying because then what's the point
fact
of all
that they
those?
so consistently deliver 3.5s on this scale and above is impressive to say the least. I think the problem though is that we like whiskey, so like it's very hard to make for someone to screw up that bad and choose to release a bad whiskey. But I mean, there's one in here that you might not like.
Like I say, we'll get to it. But this next one that I'm about to introduce,
Well, we're not. We're going to do.
Chat. Yeah, okay. Yeah, would you like to do a chat?
Yeah.
I'll let you.
You're just racing through this.
It's been a while since I've had any whiskey. I'm like, I must keep drinking.
Yeah.
No, go on. I'll let you lead us into it.
So the plan for today is to have a little bit of a whiskey talk and maybe discuss some of our journeys to some distilleries in Scotland in the Josh's Journey style, but not quite as in depth on either. Yeah. So quality content.
There's brilliance in the brevity.
Because obviously, this is the Scotch Spectacular, and Scotch has done very well at marketing itself as the whiskey to have, the high tier, top tier, premium spirit.
Yeah.
Most people would probably say, if you were to say like what's the fanciest spirit, they'd probably put whiskey right up there. If you were just talking generic types, they'd say
single malt Scotch. Yeah.
Nobody's going to be like vodka, because when you order a vodka, generally, I'm not saying there's not places you can go where you can order a specific vodka and there is a whole lot of stuff to it, but most people, when they order a vodka, will say, "Can I have a vodka?" and then usually mix it with something. Or even if they get a shot, they won't say, "Can I have a shot of, Stolz or Dubrovka?" They'll be like, "Can I have a vodka?"
Yeah.
Whereas with whiskey, people, because it's managed to put itself in that premium place. Gin is up there. People order specific gins all the time.
I think gin is seen as being maybe fancier than Scotch on a superfluous level.
Yeah.
So like people who don't know much about booze like the fancy gins, but if you're into your Scotch, it's because you're into your alcohol, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You've spent time.
Also, the fact is that a lot of the time with gins, you just flavour it with something.
Yeah, I mean, gin on itself is pretty unpleasant.
Yeah, but a Seville orange Tanqueray is just an orange flavoured Tanqueray.
Yeah, you're not meant to taste the gin.
Yeah, but that is what it is. Whereas, so that for us, that's what puts whiskey above. But I think when it comes to it, there is obviously other types of whiskey, but Scotch has just managed to market itself as an industry a lot better than rye, bourbon, even Irish whiskey.
Yeah, because like the only one who could challenge Scotch in terms of history is Ireland.
Yeah,
and they had the problem of their bit just completely fell through because of prohibition and things we discussed previously.
Yeah.
Whereas Scotch, you've got distilleries that have been continuously producing for like 200 years.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to beat that. So while bourbon might be a bigger market, I don't know, because America is just so big.
Yeah.
They may make more. The biggest bourbon company probably makes more than, I think Glenfiddich is the biggest Scotch.
I think it would be Jim Beam, and they probably do make more.
Yeah. Or, like a Jack Daniels or whatever. That's pretty,
Tennessee,
Yeah, sour mash. It's pretty well known everywhere.
Yeah. A lot of people, when they order a whiskey and Coke, expect a Jack Daniels and Coke.
Yeah, or you can even say JD and Coke, can't you?
Yeah.
So
well, most people would specify nowadays.
Yeah. So, but it's got that reputation of being more of like a working man's whiskey, hasn't it? Everyone can have that. It's what you have. It's like in TV shows or whatever, what the tough guy has when he goes to the bar, or what he has a bottle, like when you get the ex-special forces dude who's just lost his wife and he's about to get revenge.
Swigging out his
Yeah,
bottle of Jack,
just before he goes on his killing spree, he'll have like half a bottle to himself because he's a man.
or
And
if
he can
it's
do that.
somewhere that doesn't want to, some indie film, they'll make it of just a bourbon.
Yeah, and he'll be sat in a dive bar and they'll be like, "We need you to rejoin the task force, so and so," and he'll be like, "I'm done with your so and so," and then he'll come back anyway. That kind of reputation. But like, if you're going for like for example, if you're going for a modern James Bond, you drink scotch.
Yeah, and I think part of what Scotch has done is kind of I think it's like an accidentally clever thing they've done with the regions. So like, they've basically said, here's the 5.5, I suppose, regions of Scotch whiskey. Is that right?
You got Lowland, Highland, Speyside, Islay,
Campbelltown. So
probably
more like 4.5.
Campbelltown, and then I suppose you got other islands.
Yeah, but they usually are wrapped in the Highlands, but they generally are quite in this.
Well, I mean, they're all growing up as well, aren't you? Because you got like Arran, Skye, Jura.
So, but I mean, then there's even more. There's Scapa and stuff, but but for the most part, they would probably be lumped in with Highlands, which is, in my opinion, the least defined region.
Highlands is the least defined, and Lowlands is the least well marketed.
Yeah, but if you get an Islay, you're expecting here's a peat bomb.
Yeah.
If you get a Campbelltown, you're expecting
So Campbelltown almost went the way of Irish, didn't it? The bottom fell out, but it has got that defining characteristic of saltiness.
Yeah,
and Speyside is like,
and then Speyside is mostly sherry bombs these days, but also like it's a softer, lighter.
Yeah, and it can almost be like the place that gives you everything. It's like the tutorial level. I think a lot of people who are into the whiskies see Speyside as a tutorial level of like, this is where you go when you want to start.
Yeah, but
and then when you grow up, you go to Islay, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Because Speyside has some fantastic whiskies.
Yeah, agreed. But so this is most of what I mean. Our whiskey tourism is Lowland and Speyside. The reason I said 4.5 is because Speyside is technically, I believe, supposed to be a sub-region of Highland, but I mean,
it's got so many concentrated on it
because it's such a dense. It's because it's like through the Cairngorms up to along the river. There's so many sources for the water. There's so many hills. There's so much.
It's definitely like if you're wanting to do a distillery tour or whatever. If you like your peated whiskey, Islay's probably your best shot because it's a small island. And you've got 9 distilleries there now.
There's a point where you can do 3 within walking distance. Like if you manage to stay sober enough to walk probably like 3-4 miles. I think.
I'm sick of peat. But if you're not, or you like a variety of whiskies, Speyside is 100% the place to go because it's just. Well, I mean, we've done it without having to drive. We can both drive, but you don't want to really drive to distilleries.
No.
Because what's the point?
That's it. And you can definitely there's okay public transport links, and a lot of it is walkable if you pick your locations correctly.
Yeah, if you're a bit smart and you're willing to walk half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Through a storm.
Oh yeah, that was more than half an hour or 40 minutes, and I had also.
Done your knee in,
Done my knee in the day before, which was still worth it.
A free plug, Dallas Stew is very good to visit. Not an active distillery.
It's a whiskey museum.
You do get a whiskey at the end of it, and it's a great way of learning the process because you actually get to get close to everything because it's not currently running.
It's a former active distillery, but they have a interactive. Like when you see like on the films and people are going through an art gallery and you push the buttons and it tells you.
And you got one of those handheld things as well, haven't you? It's got like the audio tour.
Yeah.
Definitely worth going to see because you get to get close to the stills and all that stuff that they won't let you near anywhere else because you're getting in the way.
Taxation and.
Yeah, you get the excise man, wax figure of the excise man. Yeah.
It's very good.
It is. So I mean, there's lots of good tours out there. Although if you're listening to it now, you're probably a good 6 months away before you can get to one because they're booked
Well,
up like mad.
here's something. Yeah, like I was recently on holiday. Staycation. Went up north. Went to Skye, and when I was at why is my mind going blank?
But it's still you're at.
Yeah,
I've forgotten it as well.
it's the main one on Skye. I'll
Yeah.
get it.
3 over T.
It's
God, we're experts on whiskey.
Talisker.
Thank you. I knew it began with
Do
T.
you know what the worst thing about that is? Do you know how I remembered that? On the way to Loch Lubnaig, there's a house that's called Talisker.
I'll do it.
And I had to remember because I've seen that side every time I've been up that way, and I've said, "Oh, that's funny," because this is like.
There's a word I'll never
Stirlingshire.
forget because it's Skye's biggest distillery. Oh wait.
Yeah, but yeah. So I was at Talisker and I had the dog with me, so there's no way I could do a tour. But when I was in the gift shop, they told me it was they were currently at least a month long wait list on the they weren't taking walk ups for tours, and you had to book ahead, and
So Balvenie is probably like 7 years.
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to say. Is like Skye is quite remote.
Yeah, if you're going there, you're going there for a reason, aren't
you? You're not. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm just in the region, so let's see what's available. You're probably in Skye to go to Talisker if you're going to Talisker, kind of thing. There's a lot to do there. Don't get me wrong. Not bashing Skye. Fairy pools, great. Coral Beach, great. But
it's just a beautiful bit of the world.
Yeah, but again, even just the bridge to Skye is pretty great. It's very steep.
I didn't even know there was a bridge until Grand Tour did it, but yeah.
Yeah, but although try not to go when the main road's shut because you have to drive through a forest on the side of a hill with single track road, and it's great fun, and everyone's got a camper van. But not that it was like the most stressful drive of my life or anything.
Even more stressful than Twabelower?
Yeah. And my car worked.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's what I would say. I'm talking of Aberlour, that's probably
Aberlour was good tour.
Yeah. Good tour.
Aberlour was like
good
Aberlour was like a stripped down, like if you just want a tour of a distillery without any bells and whistles. No, it's sounding quite negative, but literally just like this is how a distillery should be done, and this is how a tasting should be done, and here's a really nice tasting room we're going to do it in. That's your one. So like Clydeside had that really cool room.
Yeah.
That they took you through, and Strathfire had that really the blending room that was it Dow?
Yeah.
Showed us. Aberlour was all just like, here, this is how it should be done.
This is how you make a whiskey.
A very good whiskey.
This is how you drink some whiskey.
Aberlour is still my favourite, so
yeah, it's very good.
It is very good. Would you like to? Now, should we move on?
I think we can move on now. Yeah. We basically just chatted to everyone about holidays we've had and how good Scotch is and
You've made me think about how badly I need to get back up there, and we need to do some more tours.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100% need to get back up there. Me and you need to, and your missus need to get some tours done.
Look at the book it. We should look at where we can book in advance.
Yeah. Right. Are you ready?
I am.
Whiskey number 4, Scallywag, the Chocolate Edition. Remarkable whiskey bottlers Douglas Lang take the classic whiskey and chocolate pairing to the next level with this limited release. Speyside whiskies are known for their rich, decadent style, often aged in sherry casks, as you just said. It's weird how that was written on the card. That's a good joke. Do you like that? This particular blended malt is a marriage of 100% sherry casks chosen for their cocoa-rich tasting notes. With only 3,000 bottles available this year, we're sure it's not going to last long either. Pair with a bite of luxury chocolate for the ultimate indulgence. I've got some luxury chocolate because that's one of the things for the English Whiskey Festival coming up this weekend.
Fair enough.
So I
do not have any luxury chocolate.
I'm not going to have it now because it's from my whiskey and chocolate tasting session.
Yeah.
But I've got 4 whiskies and 4 chocolates that were paired with it.
Sure, we will get a rundown of this in the.
I'm going to try and make notes.
Yes. I mean, I understand the try because it is essentially a whiskey festival, so I can't expect you to be.
29 whiskies in 2 days. I'm not going to probably do them all because that's a bit sad on your own. And it'd
It's
probably
very
kill me.
lockdown living.
Yeah. It'd probably kill me, and I have got work on the Monday, and I'd still be hungover. But I'll do a few. Okay, so on the nose, ripe red cherries, chocolate, and orange peel. Well, this is the first one that's got some colour to it.
It smells like a Black Forest Gatto a little bit.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of chocolate in there.
Yeah, it's very chocolatey. It's actually almost closer to just a straight up chocolate Gatto.
Yeah, like a very chocolatey Black Forest Gatto.
Today I had there's a new Galaxy Orange.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying new, it's about a month old, but it's basically Orange Galaxy.
Yeah.
Chocolate, and this has a bit of a hint of that going to it, so I get the orange peel.
Yeah, there is like a.
This Galaxy is so rich, though.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because my parents are currently visiting, and my mum baked a chocolate orange brownie, and it's reminded me of that.
Yeah, well, there you go. So we're not we agree with the nose.
Yes. Lots of chocolate on the nose with a hint of orange is what I've put. Go on, I'll let you dive in and I'll tell you what you should be tasting. So you should be getting delectable notes of creamy chocolate icing, juicy dates, and rich red fruits. And the finish should be long, warming, and fruity with sweet, spicy cinnamon and even more chocolate notes. So lots of chocolate. Are you getting that?
Say it's less chocolatey than I thought, but it is chocolatey, and I'm getting like the dates. It's like sort of chocolate raisins, maybe.
Ooh, that's a good shout, I think. You know, when someone says something, it just rings true. There's a little bit of spiciness again on this one.
Mm.
What's this? This is 48%. So maybe it's that rather than any spiciness.
When you hold it in your mouth, under the tongue, it sort of feels like melted chocolate. Like it has that kind of a quality to it.
This is the heaviest one, isn't it, that we've had?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's creamy.
Yeah,
it adds
very
to the chocolatiness.
It does say sweet, spicy cinnamon, so maybe that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. I think that comes almost purely from the alcohol. Like at 48%, though. Like it's not so much a flavor as a feeling.
Yeah. There is chocolate, but it's not like.
It's almost like a darker, like a higher cocoa, like a high cocoa milk chocolate in the finish.
Mm.
More bitter, but still creamy.
It's very creamy. It's definitely the alcohol flavour because the spice is dropping off as I have more sips. As my mouth adapts to the higher alcohol strength. I want to say it's definitely sherried, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the mouthfeel of a sherried whiskey at all. It's not wide, this one.
No. It's quite. I wouldn't say it was super narrow though, but it's like just the tongue.
Yeah. So like if we're going to compare it to those first two, which I'd say were really light.
This is heavy.
This is heavy. But it's not. To say it's all sherried whiskey.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the chocolatiness kind of is what they've selected for. Counteracts that
it might be.
Christmassiness.
I think the chocolatiness requires the creaminess to come through, which probably takes away from some of those other toffee flavors and stuff. It's very nice. It's sort of very, very puddingy, but not Christmas puddingy.
It's decadent, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like a heavy cream chocolate sponge kind of job.
Kind of makes me feel of like, what's it called? like icing, but smooth. Ganache.
Oh yeah. That is definitely that's the shout there, ganache. The finish is very ganache.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. It's still creamy, but it's a lot darker, and
Yeah.
ganache is more like a dark chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I meant when I was like, it's like a high cocoa milk chocolate. Ganache.
Awesome. See, perfect team. Also, ganache is the best. Big fan. Let me just get that. Right. Would you want to give that one a score?
I'm probably going to give that like a 4.5 because it was very interesting and very nice.
Yeah. Again, I can't disagree.
Because there is that element where it's hard to give something a high score if you're like, I've tasted basically this before, unless they just do it better.
Yeah.
But I haven't tasted that before.
No. That's why I think we were struggling to kind of nail it down.
Yeah.
Because the weird thing is, it was, like you get that uncanny valley.
Yeah.
When it's like you can recognize it, but it's not quite right.
Yeah.
It felt like that for a sherried whiskey. Like I could recognize the flavor notes from sherried.
Yeah,
but they weren't quite the same. So that makes it more difficult, even than if it's completely alien.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's completely alien, you're just like you probably
Start
pick
from
a
scratch,
couple of
don't you?
things out and you're like, there you go. Whereas
Yeah.
instead you're like, well, it's like this, but not that.
Yeah, and then you're like, what is like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was really good. That was very good.
I guess I get to
Yeah,
introduce
I can say
you.
I'm glad that was good because my favorite whiskey pairing is chocolate.
Yeah, how I mean, I'd be interested to know how much that scallywag is because I think it's.
I'll look it up for you while you introduce us to the one that you're already laughing about.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's also good for you to get that to go into this next one.
Yeah, it's £50.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so up next we have Elements of Isla, Pete.
The fact that this one's name is just Pete.
Yeah, and I mean, like, they're just like, this one tastes like Isla, Pete. Which goes back to a little chat about, each area having a more.
Isla's definitely the most well defined.
Yeah. Campbelltown's pretty close.
Yeah, but Isla's got like 9 distilleries.
Yeah.
Campbelltown's got 3. Well, 2. It's just one makes 2 different brands.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah. But that's fair. But I feel like if you were to open a distillery in Campbelltown, you would have to match that. Like if you were I'm a Campbelltown distillery, they're like, nah, you can just be Highlands.
Yeah, it's not like Isla only makes peated whiskey. They do make some unpeated, but it's known for its Lagavulin and Lafraga by far its biggest ones, and some of the biggest Scotch distilleries in full stop, and they're known for one thing.
Yeah, I've had a thought actually, right? So Arran, it's like definitely below the lowland line, but it's an island, so I feel like it just has to be on its own. It's not in a region.
I think it gets lumped into islands.
Yeah, I feel like islands is mostly just lumped into highlands, so.
Yeah.
But never mind.
It's difficult because like you go islands, and then you've got Arran, which is down there. You've got Jura, which is north of Isla, and then the rest of the islands are way up north.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Okay,
I'm ready.
so Isla, the tiny island off the western coast of Scotland, is best known for one thing: peated whiskey. Here is a whiskey that aims to showcase that element in all.
I can hear you laughing throughout all this. It's not funny.
Each batch is created using around 60 casks from some of Isla's best distilleries. This is Isla smoke at its finest. So they're blending across all of the distilleries here.
So like the last one was like we can pick out chocolate flavors. This one was like we can pick out peat flavors.
Yeah. I mean, here, look. There's a continuing theme from the last one: orange peel and thick cut bacon with seashells and smouldering coal.
Can you say this? And I'm betting it smells like peat and nothing else. Here we go. Yeah, peat.
Right, give me a minute. I'll give it a go.
No, there is bacon. I would say that was
bacon is a peat smell, though. That's the thing. Like, it smells like smoked bacon. And
yeah, but it's not just. There is smoked bacon in there. There is nothing else. I don't get orange peel, but it's just smoked bacon.
It has a citrus element to it because it is quite light behind the smoke.
I don't get how you get behind the smoke.
It's a lot of
That could be a good autobiography for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Behind the smoke, because then
You know
it could be like the cover could be like a windmill on fire. And you
you know when like boxers are just fainting at each other all the time, and they're not really throwing punches, and they're just like making the head movement.
Yeah.
You have to sort of do that at the glass to get in behind the smoke, just bobbing and weaving.
I'm worried that my camera's still on. You just watching me bobbing and weave to a whiskey glass now.
Yeah, I've just been bobbing and weaving, so I'm glad that we weren't filming this episode.
Yeah.
I might have what the next.
If you've been listening all the way through, yeah.
But I feel like we might have already said that was what our plan was.
I think we probably have, yeah. We just get drunk in these, so keeping the secrets is probably gone.
Okay, so on the palate.
Wait.
You're not ready.
All right.
On the palate, there should be hickory smoke and hints of Lapsang Souchong tea. So, tea, I guess. With salted caramel and dark chocolate. A finish of sea spray and baked apple fade, leaving heavy smoke, truffle salt, and sweet spice.
So it's not too smoky to begin with.
And it just keeps getting worse.
Then when you swallow, it's smoky as hell. It is like a maritime kind of smoke. I'll give it that. It makes me think of seashore. I have no idea what Lapsang Souchong tea tastes like. I like tea, but generally just Yorkshire tea. Salted caramel, you can sort of write off. There's no way you can taste that under the smoke. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke. It's not too bad.
It's sweet smoke, but
it's not a medicinal peat, and I can live with it if it's not a medicinal peat.
It has sweet elements and salty elements, and I think that's what saves it from the medicinal side. Because I think if it didn't have the salty edge,
I think the salty edge, yeah, I think
this would go straight into that tire fire medicinal peat.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There is, and I think that's maybe where I'm getting maritime from, because there's that saltiness.
I don't hate it. I know you do.
Hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you. We can stop there. You don't have to give it a score. No.
Like I say, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it.
I could drink one of these.
If someone gave me one of these and said, "This is why I like peated whiskey,"
I could understand it.
No, let's not go too far. I could drink it and I could say I still don't like peated whiskey, but I get that there's more than just peat to it.
Yeah.
So I know sometimes I come across a bit dismissive of peat and just be like, "Oh, it tastes like it's peat," and I maintain that a lot of peated whiskey just tastes like peat.
Oh no, that is definitely for sure. The peat monsters, they're aiming for one note, and anything else in it is just by coincidence.
And I think it's unique in that because I think a sherry bomb, although it's got heavy sherry flavors, you can always pick out other things. It's not as dominant.
The thing about a sherry bomb is that even sherry, people drink sherry like we drink whiskey and pick out flavors, So
yeah. Whereas peat is just a flavor.
Yeah, because sherry is a wine, still,
Yeah, and I think peat is a very strong flavor and smell, and it easily dominates things. But this, I think, is handled a little bit better.
I suppose the thing is, if you take 60 different ones, you're going to have some that are quite low ppms.
Yeah, or maybe I'm just building a tolerance for it over these years that you've been making me drink peated whiskey.
People do say the more of it you drink, the more you become. Here we go. In 30 years, when we get to our 30 years on, like we were talking about earlier, you'll be just sitting there like, can't really taste any flavors because there's no peat in this one. I really need that Lafroig peat to bring out
mild
the other flavors.
Lafroig peatness. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that this has hickory smoke is probably right.
It's still too peated for me, but
I would probably suggest that you don't try Lapsang Souchong tea because I imagine it probably has. To be fair, no, I think it has an earthiness to it underneath.
If that's going to be like green tea, which says it tastes like earth, but it actually tastes like puddle water. So Lapsang Souchong is famous for its super smoky aroma and flavour.
Yeah.
All Lapsang tea that is coming from China into the EU has residues due to the process of smoking the tea that's currently non-compliant with EU standards.
Oh, we won't be able to try it then.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting more and more. Well, we will now, thanks to Brexit. Good old Brexit.
Good luck getting it here from China.
No, it's made over. It's like all teas, isn't it? Eventually, it gets made over here. Yeah. Smoky Lapsang Souchong is dried over fires of resin-sweet pine wood. Because all tea, unlike coffee, all tea is from the same plant.
Yeah.
And then the difference between like a black tea and a green tea and all that is when you no, it's when you dry it.
Oh.
So a black tea you are allowed to oxidize a lot. A green tea you dry it immediately.
I get it.
And then you can dry it in different ways. So you can smoke it. I think you can expose it to sunlight. You can do a bunch of different things.
Sure, you could probably dehydrate it.
Yeah, probably. But the how long you've left it to oxidize is what changes, because eventually it'll ferment and you can get fermented tea.
Oh, so is this how they get like the green-black blend? They just do it in the middle?
Yeah. But it's all from the same plant, and then higher quality teas, so low quality teas like tea bags like we drink, is just like the tea leaf, just like mashed up.
Yeah.
High quality teas are like the tips, so the freshest bit, and they're not like chopped up or anything, the whole.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the best flavors apparently.
Fair enough.
All that from an ASMR video.
And you learned something on this podcast, which I didn't even know. And
neither did I, and I drank.
About tea.
I can say I didn't know that, and if we're talking like liters drank, tea is by far and away the thing I've drunk the most, including water.
Probably Diet Coke for me, which is a shame to say, but I definitely had an addiction.
Since I've been like 12 or 13, tea has been my primary drink. I'm from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this peated whiskey again?
I feel like we talked everything that had to be said about it. I was just saying that.
I don't think I took any tasting notes.
I would just say that it's got like it's got like that sweet peat flavor that can go medicinal, but the salt balances it as the one.
I put smoked bacon on the nose.
Yeah.
Medicinal peat is prevented from dominating. I was going to put getting too bad, but I felt that was a bit biased. By a salty undertone. I
would say in the finish, I mostly just get a sort of meaty smoke.
Yeah.
A barbecue smoke, maybe.
Barbecue smoke lingers in the finish.
I can get the sort of ideas behind caramel and chocolate because it's sweet and a bit salty, but I wouldn't say I got that far. I wouldn't say I was able to.
No, it's hard to go from that last one, which was definitely chocolatey, to this and say this is chocolatey.
I wouldn't be able to say I managed to convince my taste buds that that's what I was tasting.
Yeah. Do you want to give it a score then?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5.
I still enjoyed it, but.
So if I'm going to go 2.5.
Yeah, I get you.
On
that's
this.
A good score for you.
I think, well, it is for peated whiskey, but also because if someone asked me if we were going to do a baseline peated whiskey, I'd probably pick that one.
Yeah. Because it's not so much just this is the one thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's other flavors in there, and I think it's a good one to be like, look, you can taste the peat, but do you see how it brings these other flavors through?
Yeah.
And it's one I'd like to revisit in the future to see if it is that I am getting more of a tolerance for peat.
Probably. I imagine it probably is, especially since off podcast we did an Isla box. So.
Off podcast when we did the Isla box, I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't think there was any real peat bombs in there.
No, they didn't have like smoke head or anything like that.
No, I was hoping when we had the Lafrague that it'd be one that had completely smoked me out, but I think I basically kept up with everyone.
Yeah.
So, all right, special whiskey time. Do you reckon?
Yeah. 6 Dram. Top of the box.
Dream Dram, as Chris should have called it.
Yeah.
So this is That Boutique Whiskey Co. Cameron Bridge, batch 4, 27-year-old. So if you know the Dram Team, you know Chris, he likes his aged single grain, despite the fact that it's incredibly rare, and he seems to be able to produce it fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got.
It seems to probably know all the people that make it now.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what we've got here. We've got a 27-year-old single grain, which if you know anything about single grain whiskies, you'll know just how rare that is.
It's almost someone must have forgotten about this.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost what you feel like.
Both the largest and the oldest grain distillery in Scotland, Cameron Bridge is best known for making their grain whiskey behind some of the biggest whiskey brands. Independent bottlings of their spirit are the best way to explore Scotch grain whiskey, especially with a bit of age, like this cracking 27-year-old example. Enjoy. And, I've had 5 singles, so give me a break.
Yeah. I'm just trying to clean my glass because I don't want any smoke left in.
Yeah, that's the problem with going from a peated one to anything else, isn't it? Any residue, and you're just like, God, this is peated.
I think I've managed it, but yeah.
So on the nose, you should be getting vanilla ice cream, tropical fruit, and little sharp green apple. What? I guess a little.
Yeah.
Then orange blossom, banana foam sweets, and milk chocolate. A touch of anise is there too, as well as a little baking spice. I mean, Christ almighty.
I get a lot of the tropical fruit.
You can hear me gulping, that's water, not the whiskey. I didn't just down it. I was trying to clean my glass out of it.
I do also get the banana foam sweets, kind of.
What are banana foam sweets?
You know, like the little foam bananas you get. You sometimes get them covered in chocolate. They used to be like 5p from the corner shop.
No, because I don't eat sweets.
So
I feel like I'm missing out.
They're like a dry foam.
Can we do next time I'm up there?
They've got like a gooey-ish foamy texture.
Next time I'm up there,
yeah.
Can you have like a smorgasbord of sweets that we've picked up from tasting notes?
Yeah.
Because I didn't do sweets as a kid, because I don't like them, and I never did as an adult. So
I can sort it out. I probably won't have it ready when you come up, and you have to
I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't.
Yeah, mostly because if I bought them all, me and Jen would probably eat them.
That's fair.
But I can probably find an actual good sweet shop and get most of these things like in their.
Yeah, we need to analyze the tasting notes and be like.
Level.
Yeah, we need to analyze the tasting notes and be like, Josh needs to know what that tastes like.
Yeah. But I'm not
getting bacon. There's definitely bacon in there.
I'm not getting ice cream.
It's too deep for a vanilla ice cream. It's not a sweet smell, is it?
No. But it does have that tropical fruit and those foam sweets. But it's hard to pick anything out. There is maybe they're saying a touch of anise, but I don't think it's anise. It's some kind of. It's like all the flavors come together to be like some kind of sweet spice, almost treacly, but then it's also got the bitterness that anise has.
Yeah, I'm not getting the aniseediness.
No, that's what I mean. It's like, so anise is like sweet and bitter in my mind.
I agree with that.
And it has those two qualities in the nose, which is what I'm guessing is what they mean by it. But
it's well earthed. I think that's with the bacon spice, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe some apple. Tropical fruit, definitely. Yeah, vanilla ice cream,
that's the big one for me, is tropical fruit.
Yeah. No, I think if we say tropical fruit dominates the nose.
Yeah.
And then we don't need to say what else there is on there.
Yeah. Boom.
I type anything. It takes me ages. Right. In you go. So the palate: caramelized fresh pineapple, coconut snowballs, and earthy vanilla, which is followed by toffee and a little drying nutmeg. And then it doesn't give you a finish; it gives you a taste. White chocolate and orange wine gums linger.
That is delicious.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, okay, that finish.
Yeah, that's something else. That's like...
That was good. That was good. And then I swallowed, and the finish came through, and I was like,
yeah, it's even better. It definitely has like a marshmallowiness, like a coconut snowball.
yeah.
And I can get some kind of caramelized fruit. It does have a white chocolate in the finish, the taste.
The finish is very sweet, but really not over sweet somehow.
Mm.
I mean, it's a single grain, so I'm definitely getting.
It feels like I taste it in my teeth, though, which is what's making me think that when I say it's like white chocolate, it's like when there's chocolate residue left in your teeth.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it takes a minute for your saliva to.
I mean, I'm still tasting now. That is, yeah, white chocolate. I think is 100% accurate on that finish.
And that's that marshmallowiness developing through the finish, I think.
Yeah, marshmallow develops, white chocolate. And
there is an earthiness when you hold it in your mouth. I remember that from like a minute ago when I was doing that.
That is.
It's hard.
It's a crying shame this isn't a 25. This is great.
Yeah. I would probably. I mean, I'm guessing this is a fortune, but I would say whatever. If this is under £100, it's probably worth the price of the bottle.
I will tell you. Is it? I think there's kind of quite a vanilla-iness to that sweetness.
I can get that, but it says earthy vanilla, and I believe it's more like vanilla pods than like a vanilla flavoring.
Yeah, no, it's like proper vanilla.
Yeah.
For a Cameron Bridge 27-year-old,
batch 4,
that boutique whiskey company, it sold out.
Yeah.
But it was $199.95.
Well, that is an appropriate price for that.
Yeah, that was batch 4, 2,120 bottles.
Let's see if I can get the last dribble out.
That is something special.
That's something that I have literally never tasted. Like the way that works through the palate and then into the finish.
It's just. Well, it just handles itself really well. What strength is it? Sorry, just tipping everything over. 49%. You wouldn't say that in a million years. It handles itself really well. It's got that super kind of white chocolatey, creamy, vanilla-y sweetness, but handled sweetness. So it's not over sweet. It's not sickly.
It does have a little bit. I think that's that drying nutmeg they're talking about. It's like. There's a slight spice, which just brings the sweetness out. It brings the sweetness down, but it's still like I'm not getting any of this orange wine gums, by the way.
No, I'm not getting much in terms of citrus, but it's just really good. I mean, I've had all mine now.
Yeah, same. That's what I was saying.
So this is a difficult bit.
Yeah.
Because we've just scored one.
4.5.
That was better.
I know. I feel like there's not many times, but I feel like I'm willing to go to the 5.
I'll go for a 5.
Yeah. I don't think that I feel fairly confident now, knowing that is sold out, that I probably will never taste anything like that whiskey ever again.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Chris, for giving us a taste.
Yeah, and it was so good and so rare. I feel like the 5 is just a 5. That's just a score that it deserves. It deserves it.
It was. I think basically we just really like single grains, don't we?
Yeah.
But that was something special.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still don't think that we overscored Scallywag.
No. I really like that.
I just honestly think that because it helped that was in the box, because that was, I think, a true 4.5, and this was better. And
I think we'd have given this a 4.5 if we hadn't had.
Probably, because we'd have been. There's a trepidation.
No one wants to give it a perfect 5, but that was perfect.
That's as close to like the best whiskey we've had, I would say. Not because I think I would want to drink that every time. a big part of it for me is it something that does it take, as long as it tastes nice, but it's unique. Those two things are a big part.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like anything we've ever had, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I think that's the best. That's the best one we've had from the Dram Team.
Probably.
I would say. Without scrolling back, we've had a few from the Dram Team now.
Yeah.
But I would say that's if not, it's easily top 2. Yeah. So we have, to the surprise of no one, overrun
significantly.
Yep. My co-host has kind of given away what the big change will be, but if you weren't listening, I won't repeat it. You'll have to find it.
We're trying. We're.
That drives the engagement score.
We will hopefully work it out soon.
Yes. So this one will be going up fairly shortly from when it's been recorded.
We also have a new whiskey coming in the next 2 or 3 days.
So probably not the first weekend from when it's been recorded, because I have the English Whiskey Festival.
Absolutely.
But the weekend after, this should be going up.
Which will be mid-September-ish.
Yes. So you're probably listening to this mid-September time. And
so
then
hopefully
end of September, you might see what our big changes.
Yeah. And that puts us back on the track of being behind, so we have whiskey to drink, which is always good to have content to record.
We've still got that kit to do.
Yeah, which we'll probably do as our. Hopefully, we can do that as our introduction to the new style.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So as always, thank you for listening, everyone.
Yep.
And we will see you next time.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get another one as good as that.
Yeah, I mean, if Chris can keep up that level.
Yeah, indeed.
Thanks.
Right. Cheers, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.